what the movement is, and what people think about travel. Now I'm going to start off with a little story about myself. So this is me the other day at Costco, and I'm going through the store. As you can see, my mask is a little bit loose. It's kind of fallen down. I had to put it under my glasses. Well, now Costco is making you wear masks all the time in the store. Well, mine fell down a couple of times, and I put it back up, and I was wearing it while I was checking out. And one guy came up to me and said, sorry about that, that you're the biggest asshole in this place. You don't care about anybody. You need to wear your mask all the time. And I had my mask on. And to my point to that is, there's a lot of people. I mean, the guy was just scared. You know, I get it. The guy was scared of contracting this virus, right? So that's why we have this slide here. And now we're going to get into who also is talking about the travel. And nobody wants to go on a plane because of, you know, that's scary too if you're that close to people. So here's an article. This was from Bill. This is an article about RV travel and the safe way to travel this summer. We know a lot of people are going to be traveling. There's a bunch of indications, we're about to go through that, of why RVs are the place to invest right now and why they are going to be so popular this year. It's just going to be phenomenal. Now, in this article, Wall Street Journal talks to one of the leasing people that lease RVs. He says, the folks that are renting these RVs are pro athletes, celebrities. They've even had 10 to 15 billionaires this year. It's not even summertime yet. Only 14% of travelers feel safe taking a domestic flight, and 17% feel safe at a hotel or resort. That's very low. The other people are going to be doing RVing, camping, or traveling in their cars. They don't even want to stay in the hotels. So Bill, maybe you can talk a little bit more about this. And here's a slide that illustrates it.
Yeah, you look at, you know, any kind of mass transit, whether it be airplanes or buses or trains, and you are compacted there with lots of people. And if everybody's really still paranoid about the virus this summer, then the great alternative you can see is an RV. That whole family can ride that RV. They're safe, they're secure. I've heard lots of people always tell me that they feel safe in their RV because they can control that space. They can stop where they want to stop and go where they want to go. And so RVs are definitely picking up in popularity. The rental market for RVs, like John mentioned, is really strong right now and through the summer.
And some of the places you can go in the U.S.
Yeah, we have a lot of great national parks, national museums, state parks, Mount Rushmore, the Niagara Falls. Lists unlimited outdoor things we can do. So we can drive our RV there and get out and walk around and get back on and have limited contact with third parties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this, you know, people are saying this is going to last quite a while. The virus, the vaccine, they said they're going to have 300,000 available in the next 6 months. That's 6 months from now, and only 300,000. Fort Worth alone has 2 million people in it. Just Fort Worth, not Dallas, just Fort Worth. So that's not going to quite cut it. Now I want to talk a little bit about this article from Bigger Pockets. Bigger Pockets, this was this month. They're talking about a recession-proof style investing. Most recession-proof real estate niches. And they're talking about mobile homes and self-storage. And of course, mobile homes there also include RVs and RV parks, because the inexpensive way to travel and inexpensive way to live and still travel. Bill, you got any comment on that one?
Yeah, it's not uncommon when people kind of reach either retirement age or they have a business that they can run out of a mobile motor home. They'll sell that big house, get rid of the insurance, the taxes, the maintenance, and just, write in a check for 100, 200,000, get a really nice motor home, and off they go. And costs are minimal compared to upkeep and taking care of that big house. We're seeing more and more people work out of their RVs and travel the country. With the Wi-Fi being what it is. So, we've already seen a trend that started several years ago, but that trend will probably grow under this current situation.
So we've talked about Bigger Pockets, Wall Street Journal. Now Forbes is saying also the safer way to travel. So this is all this month. This is how fast and how RVs are growing. It was already full. Parks were full. It's hard to find a place to park them, and storage are amazing. People are renting the storage and paying for it. Here's part of the Forbes article. It says how much and how little exposures to other with this type of travel. So you can pick, your safety levels. Bill, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, that's really true, John. Like I said, you can, with curbside delivery and self-service gas, you can have no contact with anybody if you want to, if you just wanted to go out in the woods someplace. But these units are self-contained. So really, that really is a great way to control your environment and still travel and see the country.
And the next slide, I got a lot to say about this one. So I'm working from home, have been working from home now over 2 months, 2.5 months. I'm planning on going in July to Florida and plan on working from there. Or I'm going to rent an RV and I'm going to go travel around and work during the day and then see the United States for a month. I was selling some boat equipment and a guy pulls up to buy it. He's an executive at one of the largest gas filter or fuel filter places. And he says they had a phone call. They're on the phone call and the CEO said, now everything's going good. I don't hear any problems. The business is still making the same money. Why are we paying for the office space? Right? So people can work at home. People can work from an RV. Most RV parks have Wi-Fi, if not all of them.
Yeah, we're really, I think we'll see a shift that the high dollar office buildings in the downtown areas will be primarily used for the corporate headquarters, but the employees will be dispersed, throughout the area, throughout the country, and with connections of the communication what they are, they can be located anywhere and still be productive. So yeah, this shift had already started, but I really believe that this virus is going to accelerate that change.
Yeah, Bill, and you were listening to a webcast the other day about sharing, this office sharing.
Yes.
And
Yeah. We had this little trend going on for a while where, it was co-officing or co-sharing office space where you had a bunch of people in a big room and they could come in for a few hours a day and then leave. And that industry is going to get hammered because how do you keep that place clean now with all kinds of people working in tight spots? The trend is going to be away from the one big meeting room to having really towards seeing lots of small offices so people can be separated. So that co-officing, co-sharing arrangement you might see a significant fallout in that industry.
Yeah, our next slide here, Bill, go ahead and talk about that. You know, a lot of households own RVs. Now, how
Yeah,
many are full time?
yeah, it's really pretty amazing that uh, we have we have 10 million households, so that's maybe 25 million people nationwide own RVs, which is pretty remarkable, and that number is growing, obviously. But out of that 10 million, at least a million households are full time in RVs. So that means they probably sold their house or they rented it out, and they're living full time in their RV. They packed up everything in storage and off they went. And so, at one time that was primarily retired folks that would do that. Well, then we had a significant increase of people who were on work assignments. For example, we had a new Buc-ee's built on I-45 south of Dallas, and uh, the superintendent, or I believe he was the general contractor, stayed in his RV, but he was like an hour out of town because there wasn't anything close in. And so he was full time in his RV. Now we're also seeing families are full time in RVs. There's a huge number of people, hundreds of thousands of people who are packed up their family, their kids, and they're homeschooling them and they're seeing the world. What a great education. I know several people who are doing that exact thing, and those kids are so well rounded and have so much self confidence. It's amazing. So
Yeah,
the trend is really affecting lots of people. We're seeing maybe an RV is a good way to spend a good part of their life.
right. And I want to talk about the size. You know, some of the tiny homes are smaller than these RVs, and that's a new trend, right? You see that a lot of times.
Yeah, yeah.
So our next slide, I'm going to talk about this a little bit. So we know a guy named Derek. He's one of our investors, and he did some research on 70 locations. Now, out of the 70 locations, there were 26 of them that would not answer the phone. And so he got to thinking, he called 70 sites. That's a lot of numbers. They were all full, but 26 of them wouldn't answer the phone. And so he started looking around. He started looking on social media, and he found some posts for these RV sites. And the post said this. It said, "Hey guys, they're not going to answer the phone because they have a waiting list." And when he did answer the phone, that was confirmed. They have a 6 month waiting list, and you just can't get in until somebody moves.
Yeah, that was all the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Thinking about that, that's pretty amazing that they're almost all are full, and they have a waiting list. So what a great business to be in.
So, you know, we're here talking about two asset classes that kind of go hand in hand, storage and RVs, and they're both full. The large storage units are completely full. And when you talk about storage units with RVs, it goes hand in hand. And I got another story. Now, Bill, of course, you own the storage out in Wiley, and my friend Lydia owns the storage, and my friend Doug also owns the storage in Denton. And all three of you guys had one of your best months in March. And I know all three of you guys have not had much of a downturn or stop paying your investors for these type investments. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're collecting almost all of our rents that are due. So March was my best month ever for new leases, and April was only down one from March. So March and April both were really strong leasing months. Some people are scared about maybe their housing situation, they're storing stuff or whatever's going on, but there's definitely a big trend right now towards keeping the storage units they have and then renting more.
Yeah, and of course, storage units are landlord friendly. If someone wouldn't pay the rent, then, the owner would try to work with them. But if that doesn't work out, or they pass away, or that storage just doesn't get paid for, it's very easy. You auction it off, it empties out, and you sweep it and you release it. I mean, how much work goes into, getting one ready, Bill?
Yeah, compared to almost any of the asset class, whether it be apartments or retail or any kind of residential, our make ready is almost zero. Basically, John said we sweep it out. You have one customer leaving, another one waiting in line. So that makes a big difference in cash flow because we don't have regular significant make ready costs like other commercial real estate does. And so that tends to have a big hit on your cash flow, either in empty space while you're reletting it, or just the money out of pocket to do this. So we love storage for that very reason.
Mm-hmm. And this slide talks about generational updates. Maybe you can talk about that a little.
Yeah, sure. You take let's just take office for example. So every 5 to 7 years, your tenants move out, and you have to remake that space. It's too big, it's too small, not enough offices, too many offices, whatever, and there can be significant cost to getting that ready for the new tenant. And so, if your goal is to have cash flow for your kids and grandkids when you're gone, well, there's some challenges with traditional real estate, but with self-storage, the terms of, like we just said, the make ready is almost zero. The repairs are relatively low. And so it's just general maintenance, mowing the grass and sweeping the driveway is about it. So, if you want long-term steady cash flow for yourself, for your kids, for your grandkids, or whatever your church or whatever your charity is you want to provide for, storage makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Now, self-storage is expected to grow to $115 billion by 2025. The market value of self-storage right now is $87 billion. That's a growth rate of 134% in 5 years. So talk about some real gains right now, right?
Yeah, we're seeing, wherever you live, especially if you're near a big city, you're seeing quite a bit of infill developing close into downtowns. You see the multi-story properties, and the construction has been, over the last few years, has been the highest of all times. But what's amazing is they're leasing up, unless they just put it out where there's no demand. The big guys, the REITs have access to pretty good data. So they really make a mistake. It might lease up slightly slower, but it's still leasing up.
Right. Now, Bill, why are we talking about all this?
Well, we have a great project underway right now. We have